What if I told you that one of the most dangerous decisions you make for your long-term health isn't made in a doctor's office, but at your dinner table every single night? A massive study, part of the U.S. National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, looked at over 41,000 adults and found something truly alarming. The simple act of eating your dinner too late at night was directly associated with a higher risk of all-cause mortality. That's a scientific way of saying a higher risk of death from any cause. This isn't about what you eat, but when you eat. And for those over 60, this silent danger is amplified, turning a simple, comforting habit into a potential threat to your heart, your sleep, and your very longevity. What you're about to learn isn't just another list of diet tips. This is a critical update to the rulebook for healthy aging. The advice you followed at 30, 40, or even 50 is now dangerously obsolete. Why? Because your body after 60 is operating under a completely new set of rules. The hard truth is that many of the dinner habits we've practiced our entire lives, habits that seemed harmless for decades, can become metabolic landmines in our golden years. Your digestive system, for instance, naturally begins to slow down. As documented in numerous geriatric studies, the entire process from eating to elimination can take longer, making your system more vulnerable to being overwhelmed. At the same time, your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, undergoes a profound shift. Research from the Sleep Foundation shows that starting around age 60, this internal clock advances, meaning your body is biologically programmed to wind down earlier in the evening. When you eat a late dinner, you are forcing your body into an active daytime digestive state right when it's desperately trying to enter its crucial nighttime repair cycle. This creates a state of internal chaos. Add to this the phenomenon scientists call inflammaging, a chronic, low-grade inflammation that accelerates the aging process and is a known risk factor for nearly every major age-related disease. Many common dinner foods packed with sugar and processed ingredients are like pouring gasoline on that inflammatory fire. And finally, your kidneys become less efficient at processing sodium, making you far more sensitive to its blood pressure-raising effects. A quick note, this video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult your doctor before making changes to your health regimen. In this video, we are going to expose the 7 absolute worst dinner habits that are silently wrecking your sleep and putting your heart at risk. But I will not leave you in a state of fear. We will then reveal the 4 best, most transformative dinner habits that can help reverse the damage, calm your system, and pave the way for deep, restorative sleep and a stronger heart. And the number 1 best habit I'm going to share at the end is not some exotic, expensive superfood. It's a surprisingly simple, comforting, and affordable meal that combines 2 key ingredients in a way that science suggests provides the perfect 1-2 punch for both sleep and cardiovascular protection. You will not want to miss it. Before we dive into the danger list, what's the one dinner you find yourself turning to most often? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. Let's begin with the countdown of the 7 worst dinner habits, starting with number 7, the lingering stimulant, the hidden caffeine hit. The setup is all too familiar. It's 3 or 4 in the afternoon, you feel that slump, and you reach for a cup of coffee or a strong tea to power through the rest of the day. It seems harmless enough, right? Dinner is still hours away. The agitation, the why after 60 factor, is that your body's ability to metabolize caffeine slows down significantly with age. That 4 p.m. coffee that used to be out of your system by bedtime now lingers for hours, acting like a hidden saboteur to your sleep. You might not feel wired when you go to bed, but the caffeine is still active, blocking the brain chemicals that signal sleepiness and preventing you from entering the deep restorative stages of sleep. The mechanism of damage is clear. A pivotal 2013 study published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine investigated this very issue. They gave participants a 400 milligram dose of caffeine, about what you'd find in a large coffee, at 3 different times, right at bedtime, 3 hours before, and even 6 hours before bed. The results were stunning. The study found that caffeine taken even 6 hours before bedtime had important disruptive effects on sleep, significantly reducing total sleep time and sleep efficiency. For a senior, this isn't just about feeling tired the next day, it's about robbing your brain and heart of their essential nightly repair time. Think of Linda, 68, from Ohio. She couldn't figure out why she was waking up every night around 2 a.m. feeling anxious. She swore she wasn't having any caffeine after lunch, but she forgot about her daily 4 p.m. cup of strong black tea. Once she cut that out, her sleep patterns dramatically improved within a week. The better swap is simple. Institute a strict caffeine curfew. Make a rule for no coffee, black tea, or caffeinated sodas after 2 p.m. If you need a warm drink in the afternoon, switch to herbal tea, like chamomile or peppermint. The bottom line is this: that late afternoon pick-me-up is picking your sleep apart later that night. Treat caffeine like the powerful drug it is, and respect its long-lasting effects on your aging body. Coming in at number 6 is a habit many believe is a sophisticated way to unwind. The sleep cycle wrecker, the deceptive nightcap. For generations, a glass of wine, a beer, or a small brandy before bed has been touted as a way to relax and drift off to sleep. It feels calming, it seems to help you fall asleep faster, and for many, it's a cherished ritual. But this is one of the most dangerous myths when it comes to sleep health, especially after 60. The agitation is that alcohol is not a sleep aid, it's a sedative, and there's a critical difference. While it may knock you out initially, it wreaks havoc on your sleep architecture for the rest of the night. As your body metabolizes the alcohol, it creates a rebound effect, disrupting the most crucial phases of your sleep. The mechanism of damage is twofold, affecting both your brain and your heart. First, as detailed by the Sleep Foundation, alcohol significantly suppresses REM sleep, the stage vital for memory consolidation and emotional processing. In the second half of the night, as the sedative effect wears off, your body rebounds into a lighter, more fragmented sleep, causing you to wake up frequently, often without even realizing it. But the danger goes beyond your brain. A recent study published in the journal Nutrients used smartwatches to track participants and found that even low to moderate alcohol consumption resulted in a significant increase in nocturnal resting heart rate by about 3 beats per minute. This means your heart isn't getting the deep rest and recovery it needs overnight. The study's authors noted that previous research has linked every 10 beat per minute rise in nighttime heart rate to a 10% increase in cardiovascular mortality. Consider George, 74, from Pennsylvania. He enjoyed a glass of whiskey every night to help him sleep. He'd fall asleep quickly, but would wake up exhausted, irritable, and with his heart pounding. He thought it was just old age. When his doctor suggested he stop the nightly whiskey, he was resistant. But after a week, he was shocked. He was sleeping through the night and waking up feeling genuinely refreshed for the first time in years. The better swap. If you enjoy an alcoholic beverage, have it with dinner and finish it at least 3 hours before you plan to go to sleep. This gives your body time to metabolize it. For a bedtime ritual, switch to a calming, non-alcoholic drink like a cup of chamomile tea or a glass of warm milk. The bottom line: your nightly glass of alcohol isn't a friend to sleep. It's a saboteur that fragments your rest and puts unnecessary strain on your heart. At number 5, we have a habit that can turn your dinner from a source of pleasure into a source of nighttime misery. The heartburn igniter, the spicy food gamble. Many of us love the bold flavors of spicy foods, a zesty chili, a flavorful curry, or a pizza with a kick. They can make a meal exciting and satisfying. For many, a little heat seems like a small price to pay for a delicious dinner. The problem, particularly after 60, is that this small price can be paid all night long in the form of painful heartburn and disrupted sleep. The why after 60 factor is physiological. The lower esophageal sphincter, the muscular valve that keeps stomach acid from flowing back up into your esophagus, can weaken with age. The mechanism of damage is twofold. First, spicy foods are a well-known trigger for heartburn and indigestion. When you lie down to sleep, gravity is no longer helping to keep your stomach contents down. This, combined with a potentially weaker sphincter and the irritating nature of spicy food, creates a perfect storm for acid to creep back up, causing that burning sensation in your chest and throat that can jolt you awake. But there's a second, more subtle mechanism. As reported by AARP and other health outlets, spicy foods often contain capsaicin, the compound that gives them their heat. Research suggests that capsaicin can actually raise your core body temperature. This is a significant problem because in order to initiate and maintain deep sleep, your body's core temperature needs to drop slightly. By raising your temperature, that spicy dinner is actively working against your body's natural sleep process. Take Robert, a 72-year-old from Texas who loved his spicy Tex-Mex. He complained of constant nighttime heartburn and feeling uncomfortably warm in bed, leading to restless, sweaty nights. He blamed his mattress, his thermostat, everything but his diet. When he switched to having his spicy meals for lunch instead of dinner, his nighttime discomfort and sleep quality improved dramatically. The better swap: enjoy your spicy meals earlier in the day for lunch. This gives your body ample time to digest them, and for your core temperature to regulate before bed. For dinner, season your food with flavorful but non-spicy alternatives, like herbs. Think basil, oregano, rosemary, and thyme, or spices like cumin and coriander. The bottom line is clear. A spicy dinner might taste good for 30 minutes, but it can set you up for 8 hours of inflammatory discomfort and fragmented sleep. Save the heat for midday. Now for number 4, a habit that's often seen as a harmless indulgence: the blood sugar nightmare, the sugary dessert trap. After a satisfying dinner, what could be better than a little something sweet? A bowl of ice cream, a slice of pie, or a few cookies. It's a comforting ritual, a reward at the end of the day. It feels good in the moment, but for an aging body, this sweet treat can trigger a cascade of metabolic chaos that disrupts sleep and promotes inflammation. The agitation lies in a key change that happens after 60. A natural decrease in insulin sensitivity. This means your body is less efficient at clearing sugar from your bloodstream. That slice of cake that didn't cause much trouble at age 40 now sends your blood sugar on a violent roller coaster ride. The mechanism of damage is a vicious cycle of spike and crash. When you eat a high-sugar dessert, your blood glucose levels skyrocket. Your pancreas works overtime to pump out insulin to manage this sugar surge. But because your cells are less responsive, the process is inefficient. Then, a few hours later, often in the middle of the night, your blood sugar levels can crash. This crash is a biological alarm bell. Your body perceives it as a crisis and releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to raise your blood sugar back to a stable level. These are the fight or flight hormones. They are the exact opposite of the calm, relaxed state you need for deep sleep. This hormonal surge can jolt you awake, leaving you with a racing heart and a feeling of anxiety. in the dead of night. Furthermore, as Cleveland Clinic experts point out, diets high in added sugar are a primary driver of chronic inflammation, the inflammaging we talked about earlier, which is linked to heart disease and a host of other age-related conditions. Think of Mary, 69 from Florida. She loved her nightly bowl of vanilla ice cream, but she was plagued by waking up around 3 a.m., feeling shaky and unable to fall back asleep. The better swap: if you crave something sweet after dinner, opt for a small serving of fruit, especially berries. Berries are rich in antioxidants and fiber, which helps to slow down the absorption of their natural sugars. Another great option is a small piece of dark chocolate with at least 70% cocoa content, which is lower in sugar and contains heart-healthy flavonoids. The bottom line: that nightly dessert isn't a harmless treat. It's a metabolic disruptor that can sabotage your sleep, flood your body with stress hormones, and fuel the chronic inflammation that weakens your heart over time. This brings us to number 3, a very common habit that directly conflicts with the biology of aging: the digestive system saboteur, the heavy meal overload. In many American households, dinner is the largest meal of the day. It's a time to gather, relax, and enjoy a hearty plate of food: a large steak, a rich pasta dish, or a fried chicken dinner. This seems normal, even traditional. But after 60, this tradition becomes a physiological burden. The why after 60 factor is a collision of two age-related realities. First, as we've discussed, your digestive system slows down. Muscles in the GI tract may contract with less force, and the entire process takes longer. Second, your body is preparing for sleep, a time when digestion naturally slows even further to divert energy to cellular repair and brain maintenance. Eating a large, heavy meal, especially one high in fat or protein, forces these two conflicting states to battle each other. Your body is trying to shut down for the night, but your stomach is screaming for resources to break down a massive meal. The mechanism of damage is digestive distress and sleep disruption. According to the Sleep Foundation, large meals close to bedtime can cause indigestion, bloating, and gas, making it physically uncomfortable to lie down and fall asleep. Foods high in fat are particularly problematic, as they take the longest to digest, delaying stomach emptying and dramatically increasing the risk of acid reflux, or GERD. Research has directly linked eating high-calorie meals with large amounts of fat or carbohydrates less than an hour before bed to a longer time falling asleep and poorer overall sleep quality. Imagine Linda, 71, from California. Her husband loved to cook big, rich dinners around 8 p.m. Linda would feel uncomfortably full and bloated for hours afterward. She'd often have to prop herself up with pillows to avoid heartburn and would toss and turn all night. The better swap: make lunch your main meal of the day and have a lighter, smaller dinner. A good rule of thumb is to eat until you are about 80% full. Focus on easily digestible foods in the evening, like a vegetable soup, a small piece of baked fish, or a salad with some lean chicken. The goal is to go to bed feeling satisfied, not stuffed. The bottom line: overloading your slowing digestive system with a heavy meal late at night is a recipe for disaster. It guarantees a night of discomfort and prevents your body from performing its essential restorative functions. We are now at number 2, and this habit is a silent daily assault on your cardiovascular system: the silent blood pressure inflator, the salty processed meal. The setup is the epitome of modern convenience. After a long day, the last thing many of us want to do is cook a complex meal from scratch. So we turn to the easy options: a frozen dinner, a can of soup, a pizza, or some deli meats for a sandwich. These foods are quick, they're easy, and they often taste good because they've been engineered to be that way. The agitation is that for a person over 60, This convenience comes at a terrifyingly high price. This is where the perfect storm of aging vulnerabilities truly hits. As we age, our kidneys become less effective at filtering out excess sodium. Simultaneously, our bodies become more salt-sensitive, meaning the same amount of salt has a much greater impact on raising our blood pressure than it did when we were younger. The mechanism of damage is a direct and relentless attack on your heart and blood vessels. The American Heart Association recommends an ideal daily sodium limit of just 1,500 milligrams for most adults, especially those with high blood pressure. A single frozen dinner or can of soup can contain half or even all of that amount. When you consume this much sodium, your body retains extra water to dilute it. This isn't just theory. The data is chilling. A large analysis presented at the European Society of Cardiology Congress, which looked at over 325,000 people, found that those who ate the most ultra-processed food were 24% more likely to experience serious cardiovascular events like heart attacks and strokes. Another study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found that each additional daily serving of ultra-processed food was associated with a 7% increase in the risk of hard cardiovascular disease and a 9% increased risk of cardiovascular disease mortality. Consider Robert, 76, from Arizona. He lived alone and relied heavily on canned soups and frozen entrees for dinner. His blood pressure was stubbornly high, even with medication. His doctor urged him to start reading labels. Robert was shocked to see that his healthy chicken noodle soup had over 800 milligrams of sodium per serving. By switching to cooking simple meals at home with fresh ingredients, he was able to get his blood pressure under control for the first time in a decade. The better swap: cook at home as much as possible. It gives you complete control. When you do buy packaged foods, become a detective. Read the nutrition label and choose products with low sodium. Rinse canned beans and vegetables to wash away excess salt, and use herbs, spices, garlic, and lemon juice to flavor your food, instead of the salt shaker. The bottom line: relying on processed foods for dinner is one of the single worst things you can do for your heart health after 60. It's a direct path to high blood pressure and increased cardiovascular risk. And now, the #1 worst dinner habit. This is the master switch that makes every other bad habit on this list 10 times more dangerous. The circadian rhythm disruptor: eating too close to bedtime. It doesn't matter how healthy your dinner is. If you eat it at 9:30 p.m. and go to bed at 10:30 p.m., you are setting yourself up for failure. This habit might be a result of a busy schedule, social engagements, or simply not feeling hungry until 8. It seems like a simple matter of timing. The agitation is that this is a profound act of biological self-sabotage. Your body has a master clock in your brain, located in the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN, which is primarily regulated by light and darkness. But you also have peripheral clocks in almost every organ, including your liver, pancreas, and gut. When you eat a meal late at night, you are sending a powerful wake up and work signal to all of your metabolic organs, right at the moment your brain's master clock is sending the shutdown and repair signal. This creates a state of massive internal desynchronization, or what scientists call circadian misalignment. The mechanism of damage is systemic. This misalignment disrupts the nightly release of crucial hormones. For example, your body's sensitivity to insulin is naturally lower in the evening. Eating late forces your pancreas to work harder to manage blood sugar, leading to higher glucose spikes overnight. It disrupts the natural drop in blood pressure and heart rate that should occur during sleep, putting strain on your cardiovascular system. And it directly impacts sleep quality. A study analyzing data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey found that later meal timings were significantly and directly correlated with poorer sleep quality scores. But the most sobering evidence comes from that massive study of over 41,000 adults we mentioned at the start. Published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, it found that night eating, particularly after 11 p.m., was associated with a significantly higher risk of all-cause and diabetes mortality compared to eating earlier in the evening. The timing of your last meal is not a trivial detail. It is a matter of long-term health and survival. The consensus from health experts at institutions like the Sleep Foundation is clear. You should aim to finish your last substantial meal at least 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. The bottom line, eating too close to bedtime is the keystone of poor health habits. It throws your entire system out of whack, disrupts your hormones, strains your heart, and ruins your sleep, regardless of what you eat. Fixing this one habit is the single most powerful first step you can take. Now, I know that was a lot of alarming information. It can feel overwhelming to realize that so many common habits carry these potential risks. But I want you to take a deep breath, because knowledge is not meant to create fear. It's meant to create power. You now understand the core mechanisms of damage: the circadian disruption from eating too late, the digestive overload from eating too much, and the chronic inflammation fueled by sugar and processed foods. The good news is that your body is incredibly resilient. It wants to heal. And by making a few simple, strategic changes to your evening routine, you can begin to work with your body's natural rhythms instead of against them. This isn't about deprivation or complicated diets. It's about making smart, healing choices. We're now going to pivot from the problems to the solutions. We're going to explore the 4 best dinner habits that can help you reclaim your sleep, strengthen your heart, and build a foundation of vitality for the years to come. These are your tools for transformation. But first, let's clear up a common point of confusion with a quick mythbuster. This is something I hear all the time, and it causes a lot of unnecessary anxiety and restriction. The myth: you should never eat fruit at night because the sugar will ruin your sleep and make you gain weight. This is a classic example of a half-truth that has been twisted into terrible advice. It lumps all sugars into one villainous category, which is scientifically inaccurate and needlessly restrictive for seniors who need nutrient-dense foods. The truth is that the type of sugar and what it's packaged with matters immensely. The refined, added sugars found in cookies, ice cream, and sweetened drinks are rapidly absorbed, causing that damaging blood sugar spike and crash we talked about. But the natural sugar in a piece of whole fruit, like an apple or a handful of berries, comes packaged with fiber, water, vitamins, and antioxidants. This fiber dramatically slows down the absorption of sugar, preventing a sharp spike and providing a much more gentle and stable release of energy. Health experts generally agree that a light snack, including a piece of fruit, is perfectly fine for most people, provided it's eaten about 2 to 3 hours before bed to allow for digestion. In fact, some fruits are actively beneficial for sleep. As we'll discuss, tart cherries are a natural source of melatonin. Kiwis have been linked to better sleep quality because they contain serotonin. So the real enemy isn't the apple you might have at 7 p.m. The enemy is the pint of ice cream you eat at 10 p.m. Don't fear fruit, fear processed sugar and poor timing. Now let's move on to the empowering part of our journey. The 4 best dinner habits to heal your body and reclaim your nights. We'll count down from number 4 to the number 1 game changer I promised you. Starting with number 4, the classic comfort, a glass of warm milk. This might sound like an old wives' tale, but there is genuine science behind this age-old remedy. For many of us, a warm cup of milk before bed is deeply comforting, evoking feelings of safety and care from childhood. This psychological effect alone can be powerful, helping to calm the nervous system and prepare the mind for rest. But the benefits go beyond nostalgia. The mechanism of healing is biochemical. Milk and other dairy products are one of the richest dietary sources of an essential amino acid called tryptophan. Your body cannot produce tryptophan on its own. You must get it from food. Tryptophan is the direct precursor to serotonin, a neurotransmitter that promotes feelings of well-being and relaxation, and then to melatonin, the primary hormone that governs your sleep-wake cycle. The evidence supports this. A review of population studies published in the journal Nutrients found positive associations between dairy intake and better sleep outcomes. Another study of adults over 60 found that drinking fermented milk for 3 weeks helped reduce nighttime awakenings. Perhaps most fascinating is a study published in the Journal of Medicinal Food, which found that milk collected from cows at night, so-called night milk, contains significantly higher concentrations of both tryptophan and melatonin than milk collected during the day. Consider Mary, 68, from Florida. She struggled with falling asleep, her mind racing for hours. She started a new ritual. An hour before bed, she would gently warm a small cup of milk, sit in a quiet room, and sip it slowly. She found that the combination of the warm, comforting drink and the quiet ritual helped her unwind, and she began falling asleep more easily and sleeping more soundly. For practical integration, if you tolerate dairy well, try having a small glass of warm milk about an hour before bedtime. This gives the tryptophan time to be absorbed and helps you avoid needing to use the restroom in the middle of the night. You can add a tiny pinch of nutmeg or cinnamon for flavor, but avoid adding sugar. This simple, comforting habit can be a powerful signal to your body that it's time to rest. At number 3, we have a targeted, potent tool for improving sleep. The Sleep Supercharger, a serving of tart cherry juice. While many fruits are healthy, tart cherries, particularly the Montmorency variety, are in a class of their own when it comes to sleep support. If you're struggling with insomnia or frequent waking, this could be a transformative addition to your evening routine. The mechanism of healing is a powerful dual-action effect. First, tart cherries are one of the few natural food sources of melatonin, the hormone that directly regulates your sleep-wake cycle. As we age, our natural melatonin production can decline, which is one reason sleep patterns can become disrupted. Second, tart cherries are packed with potent anti-inflammatory compounds called anthocyanins. As we've learned, chronic inflammation or inflammaging is a major issue in aging and is linked to poor sleep. A systematic review in the journal Nutrients noted that these anti-inflammatory properties may play a key role in improving sleep quality by calming the body's systems. The evidence for this is compelling, especially for our age group. A pilot study published in the Journal of the American College of Therapeutics focused specifically on older adults with chronic insomnia. The participants drank tart cherry juice for 2 weeks. The results showed a significant reduction in insomnia severity, particularly in the amount of time they spent awake after falling asleep. Another study found that consuming tart cherry juice for just 7 days led to significantly elevated melatonin levels and improvements in both sleep time and sleep efficiency. Consider George, 75, from Illinois, who was frustrated with his fragmented sleep. He'd wake up 3 or 4 times a night. He started drinking a small glass of unsweetened tart cherry juice about an hour before bed. After about a week, he noticed a remarkable difference. He was sleeping for longer stretches and waking up feeling more rested than he had in years. For practical integration, look for 100% pure, unsweetened tart cherry juice, not a cocktail blend which is full of added sugar. A small serving of about 4 to 6 ounces an hour before bed is a good starting point. You can dilute it with a little water if the taste is too strong. It's a simple, research-backed way to give your body the specific compounds it needs for a night of deep, uninterrupted rest. Coming in at number 2 is not just a single food, but a powerful dinner combination: the Heart Protective Plate, baked salmon with leafy greens. This meal is the antidote to the salty, processed dinners we warned against. It's a perfect synergy of nutrients, specifically chosen to strengthen your heart, calm your nervous system, and prepare you for a night of restorative sleep. It's truly food as medicine. The mechanism of healing here is a tag team effort. The salmon provides a rich source of omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA. These are essential fats that our bodies can't make efficiently, and they are superstars for cardiovascular health. They work by reducing inflammation throughout the body, lowering triglycerides, a type of fat in your blood, helping to lower blood pressure, and slowing the development of plaque in the arteries. The leafy greens, like spinach or kale, deliver a powerful dose of magnesium. Magnesium is often called the relaxation mineral. It plays a critical role in regulating the nervous system and helps activate mechanisms that quiet and calm the body. It binds to GABA receptors, which are neurotransmitters that reduce nerve excitability, and it can help regulate the stress hormone cortisol, paving the way for peaceful sleep. The evidence for both components is robust. The American Heart Association recommends eating fatty fish like salmon at least 2 times per week to protect against heart disease. For seniors specifically, a diet rich in omega-3s is linked to better cardiovascular outcomes and reduced inflammation. On the sleep front, a longitudinal study published in the journal Sleep found that higher dietary magnesium intake was associated with better sleep quality and a lower likelihood of having short sleep duration. Deficiencies in magnesium have been linked to symptoms like muscle weakness, tremors, and even irregular heartbeat, all of which can disrupt sleep. Take Linda, 70, from Oregon. She had borderline high blood pressure and complained of restless legs at night. Her doctor suggested she incorporate this exact meal twice a week. The omega-3s from the salmon helped support her heart health, and the magnesium from the spinach helped calm her nervous system and ease her restless legs, allowing her to sleep more peacefully. For practical integration, a 4-ounce portion of baked or grilled salmon is perfect. Avoid heavy, creamy sauces. A simple squeeze of lemon, dill, and black pepper is all you need. Sauté a generous portion of spinach or kale in a little olive oil and garlic. This meal is light, easy to digest, and packed with the specific nutrients your heart and brain need to thrive. And now, the number 1 best dinner habit. The one I promised would be simple, comforting, and powerfully effective. The ultimate sleep support bowl: oatmeal with walnuts. This might surprise you. You probably think of oatmeal as a breakfast food, but as a light early dinner or a substantial evening snack a few hours before bed, it is an absolute game changer for sleep and heart health, especially when paired with walnuts. It delivers on every single principle of a healthy evening meal for someone over 60. The mechanism of healing is a beautiful synergy. First, the oatmeal provides complex carbohydrates. Unlike the simple sugars in dessert that cause a crash, these carbs are broken down slowly, providing a steady, gentle release of glucose into your bloodstream. This prevents nighttime blood sugar crashes and the associated cortisol surge. This slow release of glucose also helps the amino acid tryptophan, which we talked about with milk, to more easily cross the blood-brain barrier, where it can be converted into serotonin and melatonin. On top of that, oats are rich in soluble fiber, which is proven to help lower LDL, or bad, cholesterol, a major win for heart health. Then you add the walnuts. Walnuts are a nutritional triple threat for the night. They are one of the best plant-based sources of heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. They are a good source of tryptophan, and, most importantly, they are a natural source of melatonin itself. You are getting the building blocks for sleep hormones and the sleep hormone itself, all in one food. The evidence is what elevates this from a good idea to a top recommendation. A recent study published in the journal Food and Function had participants eat about a third of a cup of walnuts daily. The results were incredible. After 8 weeks, participants had significantly higher levels of melatonin in their system. They fell asleep faster, and their overall sleep quality scores improved. They even reported feeling less sleepy during the day. When you combine the cholesterol-lowering power of oats with the proven sleep-enhancing and heart-protective benefits of walnuts, you have created the perfect evening meal. It's gentle on the digestive system, stabilizes your blood sugar, and provides the exact nutrients your body is crying out for at the end of the day. Consider Robert, 78, who found heavy dinners left him feeling awful. He switched to having a small bowl of oatmeal with a handful of walnuts around 6:30 p.m. He found it was satisfying without being heavy. He stopped waking up in the middle of the night, and at his next checkup, his cholesterol numbers had improved. For practical integration, prepare your oatmeal with water or milk. Avoid prepackaged, sugary oatmeal packets. Use plain rolled or steel-cut oats. Top it with a small handful of raw walnuts, about a quarter cup. If you need a little sweetness, add a few berries instead of sugar or syrup. This simple, affordable, and comforting bowl is the #1 habit you can adopt to support your sleep and protect your heart. One final bonus tip to reward you for staying until the very end. While you want to avoid drinking large amounts of liquid right before you turn in for the night, to prevent trips to the bathroom, it is crucial to stay well hydrated throughout the day. Dehydration can lead to muscle cramps, headaches, and a general feeling of unease, all of which can disrupt your sleep. A small glass of water an hour or 2 before bed is perfectly fine for most people. But the real key is consistent, steady hydration from the moment you wake up until your early evening meal. Don't try to make up for a day's worth of poor hydration in the last hour before bed. So where do we go from here? We've journeyed through the 7 habits that can weaken your body and the 4 that can begin to heal it. The contrast is stark. On one side, you have habits that create chaos, disrupting your internal clock, overloading your digestion, and fanning the flames of inflammation. On the other, you have choices that create harmony, working with your body's rhythms, providing calming nutrients, and protecting your most vital organ. The power to choose between these 2 paths is entirely in your hands. It's not about achieving perfection overnight. It's about progress. It's about recognizing that your dinner plate is one of the most powerful levers you have to influence how you feel, how you sleep, and how you age. Aging well is not a matter of luck. It's a matter of making deliberate, informed choices day after day. So I want to leave you with a simple challenge. The choice is yours. Do one thing today. Remove one harmful habit from your evening and replace it with one healing option. Swap that frozen dinner for a simple homemade soup. Switch that glass of wine for a cup of chamomile tea. That single choice is a powerful declaration that you are taking control of your health. Of all the habits we discussed, which one was the biggest surprise to you? I'd love to hear from you in the comments section below. If you found this information valuable, please show your support by giving this video a like, and be sure to subscribe for more research-backed health advice to help you stay strong, sharp, and independent. Stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video.